where the drama starts. Lap 30, 8 laps to go. Sandobi hoping to take advantage of these lapped cars. Pileski goes, dives on the right side. Very aggressive here. This is lap 4. The two Viceroys. Bill Frazier ahead of Matt Pileski. Frazier's off. Frazier hit the grass. You hit that tire wall, your day is done. You know, it's lap 20. The Williams still trying to get around the Terrell team as he'll go around the left car and around those at the same time. At the same time, he's got the inside corner. Will he ride the curb? Yes, he will. He will get him on the inside. Vito Maria leading us all into Moss's corner. Look at the beauty as his right side will cook the grass a little. A 180, no, a 360. Oh. Who will yield going into this corner? It's really not meant for too wide as it will be Gernald. Gernald will yield. Lots of smoke picking up from that Williams car. He is pushing it to the absolute limit. 26 of 30 now. Only 4 laps to go. He's going to get the run coming out the final corner. He's going to pull up side by side with the leader. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. Who is going to get there first? It's going to be...
One of the greatest cars in Formula One history meets one of the greatest circuits in Formula One history, and hopefully we will produce some history of our own here today. Hello everyone and welcome to Belgium for round 9 of the Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship here at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Samuel Ryman, and alongside me in the booth is Richie Hearn. Behind the scenes is our director Amjad Yamin, who is doing all of the button pushing using camera sets provided by Dougie Beard. Richie, no matter whether today's race is a thrilling one or a bit of a procession, it is always just fun to watch these drivers go around this track, and honestly though, it's even more fun to race on.
Yeah, Sam, this is one of the best tracks in the world, and I'm very excited to be calling this race today. We're at Circuit Spa-Francorchamps, located in the Ardennes Mountains in Belgium. It's one of the best tracks anybody could race on. It's one of the few tracks that really feel like you're going somewhere instead of in a parking lot. We got some great famous turns here, starting with La Source out of the hairpin, leading up to the famous Eau Rouge, which leads us down the Camel Straight with some great passing opportunities coming into turns 5 and 6, which is called Les Combes. From there, we plunge downhill, go through the forest, go through Pouhon, which is a really tricky corner, lead onto the back part, 12, 13, 14, 15, which leads us onto that long, famous straight, not quite straight, but it's flat out, into Blanchimont, and then finish the race with a great another passing opportunity into the chicane in turns 18 and 19. But probably the best way to give you a look at this place is let's jump on the board that GSRC lap guide.
All right, we've got Juha Norlampi and the GSRC Lotus 79, so let's do a lap around Spa. The Source hairpin is an excellent place to pass, but it's also super dangerous on the first lap. Cars packed tightly together on a sharp hairpin, all eager to gain positions, is just a recipe for contact. Your exit off the corner will definitely be a critical one. As you fly down the hill, you're quickly approaching Eau Rouge, and with the ground effects of the 79, it's easily flat through this frightening set of bends. And that's why the run from La Source is so important. You're not lifting all the way until you reach Lacombe. The Camel Straight is going to be chock full of draft battles all race long. It'll definitely be a strategic fight if you can stay within the slipstream of your opponent throughout the lap up until here. But the braking for the chicane offers chances to attack or defend from the inside or the outside. The switchback allows some unique situations for the brave. Around Malmedy, you've now hit the highest part of the circuit. Immediately, the track begins to plunge back downhill, and the first corner you'll meet is Rivage. Like most cars, you'll be fighting understeer, but you won't have much time to switch sides and set up for no-name corner. Be careful not to let the car get upset by the curbing, since it could spin you out if a bump causes it to bottom out. Up ahead, you can see the valley where the lap began, but no time to sightsee because you gotta chuck it into Pouhon. If you don't drift wide, you can hold it flat out through the second half. The immense power of this car and the help from the drop in elevation means you'll be carrying a terrifying amount of speed by the time you hit Fagnes. That'll make it tricky to get the car into each apex, but the most consistent drivers will find it paying off in lap time. Once again, get the car across the track because you're quickly thrown into Stavelot. The first half can be tough, but the one you want to focus on is the second half. A small lift will get you through, and ideally getting back to the gas early should gain you lots of lap time. This is the other longest portion of the circuit with your foot flat to the floor. Cars within a reasonable distance behind will start creeping forward in your mirrors. No lifting through Blanchiment, so keep that right pedal planted. Then, drift the car off to the left and throw out the anchors for the bus stop. This will be another popular overtaking spot, but keeping from overshooting the corner will prove tough even by yourself. Stay off the giant sausage curves and then gently get back onto the gas. If you manage to keep it together, you've now finished a lap around Spa.
So that's what a lap around this Belgian circuit is like. Let's take a lap around the point standings, as this is round 9 of our 12 race season. We got a driver and a team championship. Nuno Moreira currently leading the driver standings right now. We're Prix not too far behind, and honestly though, this is the top of 2 splits here today. A lot of big points could be on the line today, so if Prix is able to bring home the checkered flag, maybe he could eat into that points lead and further close up and give Moreira a bit of pressure entering our final 3 rounds. AC Vandenberg now has dropped to 3rd in the standings. Matt Wood and Adam Fraser rounding out our top 5. And like we said, just 3 races left to go after today. This is accounting for all 4 drop weeks that will come into account at the end of the season. As far as the team championship goes, only 2 drop weeks will count there. But even then, we're seeing a very close fight at the top of the standings. Just 4 points separating Marlboro McLaren International, with Frisch and Simpkins behind the wheel of those 2 machines, ahead of Equipe Talbot Gitans, just 4 points back. The Canadian of Charles-Eric Lemelin and another American driver down there, Adam Fraser. Rounding out our top 5 in the standings, we have Equipe Renault Elf, we have Williams down there in 4th, and Lotus rounding out the top 5. 2 American drivers there, Salas and Stevens. Richie, let's take a look at what these drivers are going to be up against today.
Yeah, as like you said, we're in round 9 of 12, so we're getting close to the end of the season. They do have 4 drops for the drivers and 2 drops for the team, so that will mix things up as we go as well. This race is going to be 21 laps long. Open setups, no need to stop for fuel or tires, so it'll just be a straight out fight. Incident caps are at 17x, and we do use the official iRacing series points.
Yeah, and I just have a feeling those are going to be very high today here, Richie, because as we mentioned, this is the top of 2 splits we have going on, but even then it's 25 cars, and they're all 25 big names. I mean, I'm even looking through the iRatings here. The number 25 car is Ben Laughter, the number 24 car, Sergio Fernandez, and actually Fernandez is currently 5th in qualifying right now. These are big names who have big numbers on the side of their cars. I mean, this is a strong strength of field we're looking at here.
Yeah, it's one of the strongest we've seen in a while. I mean, even my iRating would not put me in this split for sure. So it should be a great race, especially with Frisch and Sergio running strong. We got Juha Noorlampi up there, and really excited. This is a great track for this car too. So a lot of passing opportunities, some drafting opportunities. Setup's going to be key. You know, those wing angles are going to be interesting to see who trims it out for the speed and who puts it on for the corners. So this will be fun to watch.
And in case you were wondering if your iRating would get you in this race, Ben Laughter, the number 25 car, has an iRating of 3,086. You would need an iRating higher than that to make it into this field. And currently Ben Laughter, one of the many cars out there on track, actually he's just about across the line. I'm going to try and see if he's able to pick up his time. He does, but not his position.
Yeah, right now I'm watching Gurno put a lap in, you know, with only 8 minutes to qualify, and it's about a 2-minute lap time. You don't get very many chances. So one thing about Spa too is it's really easy to get that 1x by dropping wheels, and so if you do that, your time is nullified. So it's really tricky to put that one complete lap together.
And yet very close at the top of the scoreboard between Sergio Macias and Nuno Moreira, just a few hundredths of a second separating them. Gernot Frisch and Juha Noralampi have yet to turn a lap. Frisch actually coming across the line just now. He goes third fastest. Noralampi working his way through the Blanchimont section right now. He's about to hit the bus stop, and we'll see what one of our most dominant drivers of the season is able to turn in as his first lap time, and actually his only lap time because his qualifying session is almost done.
Yeah, he's cutting it pretty close as he comes along across the finish line with 10 seconds to go. It's going to put him fourth at the moment.
Not a good lap by Noralampi. So Macias and Moreira, it looks like, is going to bring our field to green here as qualifying is over. Gernot Frisch will be starting from third position ahead of Noralampi. Nice qualifying by Matt Wood there in fifth place, but a great qualifying by the two drivers, three drivers actually behind him, all with I ratings a bit lower on the spectrum here, although still very high. Alex Millwood, sixth on the grid ahead of Sergio Fernandez and Kane Lasky in eighth. Cullen Brown and Adam Fraser round out the top 10.
Yeah, starting 11th is going to be Ove Trankerade. Right next to him will be Rob Olenchek. Next up in the row 7 will be John Stevens and Jamie Hall. Behind them will be Stefan Baluka and Justin Albright. Starting in the 17th position is going to be Michael Haughton, and 18th will be Martin Blyes. 19th is going to be Tobias Gerber, and 20th will be Philip Lake.
And rounding out the field here will be Barry West in 21st place ahead of Simon Schulz. Ben Laughter and Nicholas Mukanos were the slowest two drivers in qualifying, but even then not too far off of our leaders considering the length of a lap around here. Ian Card was unable to turn a competitive lap time during qualifying, so he will start last. He is in the session still though, so it looks like we're going to have a 25 car field. And if you've ever watched a race with a standing start at Spa before, you know La Source can be a bit chaotic. And 25 of our top Lotus 79 drivers on iRacing, I think it would be hard to argue that. There's definitely some big names here on the grid getting set to set off in that dash down to the first corner. All of the cars are gridded up, the lights are about to come on, and we're about to go racing for 21 laps for round 9 of the Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship. Sergio Macias on the inside, Nuno Moreira on the outside. The lights are off and away they go. A great start by Macias, not so by Moreira. In fact, already as they head into the first corner, Frisch is on down the inside.
Yeah, great start by Sergio. He's going to get a good jump going down the hill to Eau Rouge. Looks like a pretty clean start. Everybody getting through La Source pretty cleanly, so that's good to see as they jump up onto the Camel Straight for the first time.
Noralampi very much abused the Eau Rouge Raidalon runoff area there. I wondered if he was going to get slowed down. Doesn't look like he does, but he actually makes contact with Alex Millwood down the Camel Straight. That's not something you want to be doing. Up into second goes Moreira. He holds off a challenge from Frisch, and that's Albrecht off at the back there.
Oh, we got an accident here right there with Nuno. Looks like Frisch. Yeah, that's going to have big into the points. So those are our first place points leaders, I believe.
And that really relieves the pressure from Sergio Macias from behind. Noralampi is several seconds down the road from him in second.
Yeah, that really stacked the field up with that spin going into that corner. And like you said, Sergio's got some space, breathable space he doesn't have to worry about. He can just focus on what he has to do.
So Macias leading the field around from pole position. Noralampi inherits second place after Moreira and Frisch tangle ahead of him. Wood inherits third. Cullen Brown has had a lightning start. He's now in fourth place after starting ninth on the grid.
Yeah, great start and able to miss that accident. He's got a train of cars right behind him. He's right behind Matt Wood as well. And they're going to come down to that back stretch here.
All right, so our first official retirement from the race is Justin Albrecht. And let's see what went on at the start of this race. Well, we're going to watch this battle for second first. It went downhill really quickly as they came to the exit of Lake Holmes. Single file here.
It just looks like Gurno just got in a little hot and T-boned Moreira, and he started barrel rolling there. Yeah, here comes Gurno into the corner. He's going to go in a little hot and just a little too deep, and then it just all falls apart at that point.
So yeah, top two in points. Well, this is probably going to end up being a drop race for both of them, which is a shame because it could have, they definitely could have walked away with some big points today.
Yeah, meanwhile, Sergio's gapped the field about 2.7 seconds to Nora Lampi. Behind him, he's okay right now, but there's a big battle going on with Matt Wood, Colin Brown, Kane Lasky, and then behind them, there's a huge train of cars, starting with Sergio Fernandez. These guys, during the replay, I was watching them go through the hairpin there, and they were all stacked up, so it's going to be pretty exciting.
You know, I know it's early in this race to talk about points, Richie, because there's a lot of racing left to go. But one driver who's really going to benefit out of this is Matt Wood, because Macias and Nora Lampi, Macias hasn't made a lot of appearances this season, so he's not really racing for points. Nora Lampi has made a lot of appearances this season, but told us at the start of the year that he's not going to run for points. So Matt Wood, sitting in third place, is really our strongest running points contender out there today. He enters this race high in the driver's standings, and with this, in my opinion, being a really big points race, the fact that he's been gifted third place right now, this could really do wonders for him in those standings.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's, you know, just part of the game there. You just got to kind of survive and get through that first lap. And Matt Wood's done a good job with that. I noticed Nuno Moreira is out of the car, and Mark Cooper is also exited.
Nora Lampi sets the fastest lap. He's got 3 seconds of clean air in front of him, though, before he gets to the rear wing of Macias. Ove Trantre does not have that luxury. We've been keeping an eye on this battle for a little while. He's running in 8th place with heavy pressure from behind from Jamie Hall, John Stevens, Rob Olenek, Stefan Beluca, and Michael Haughton also trying to make a move on Beluca. And they're about to go 3 wide back there down the Camel Straight.
Yeah, Michael Haughton's try to get 2 for 1 here. He went right down the middle, and he looks like he's going to make it work. So great job by all 3 of those drivers running clean.
And another little battle going on down here into Rivage. Jamie Hall on the inside, Ove Trantre on the outside. By the way, fun fact, I saw this on F1 Reddit earlier. Right there as they come out of No Name, that's where the Monaco Grand Prix circuit ends. The length of the Monaco Grand Prix. So that tells you just how big Spa is, because there's still half a lap to go around here.
Well, that's what makes this place great. It's just a long circuit. Really only 1 slow corner, maybe 2, and the rest of the time it's just pretty much wide open. A great place to drive if you got your car handling correctly. This battle between Haughton, Beluca, and Lake, looking pretty crazy right now. These guys are fighting hard. We are in lap 3 of 21, so we still have a long ways to go. Ooh, we got a car off.
Stevens, nice save. I think he got away with that, Richie.
I think he did too. He lost a lot of positions, but he's still running. Yeah, here he comes. John Stevens just gets out onto that dirt and then kind of spits him over to the right, but great job correcting that car and everybody else missing him. Going to continue on, but loses about 5 or 6 spots at the moment. I want to go back to Michael Haughton. He's done a great job starting 17th up to 10th. He's been pretty aggressive with some of his moves, but he's moving forward.
By the way, we have had the third retirement rather from this race. We already documented Moreira and Albrecht out. Alex Millwood has joined them. He picked up not a lot of damage on the opening lap, but just enough that on lap 2 he pulled it off to the side of a race and retired from the Grand Prix. So we're down to 22 cars. One driver still in this race, by the way, is Gernot Frisch. And even though he's back in 14th, he's only 14 seconds back of our race leader. Depending on how quick he can navigate his way through this pack of cars in front of him that we've been watching the last couple of laps, he might still be in with shots for a decent finish.
Yeah, his car is clean too. It doesn't look like he has any damage, so he's in a tight group of cars. He's right behind Philip Lake at the moment, who's right behind Stefan Beluca, so he's got to get by them, but he can do some damage limitation on this on his points. If he can just get up there, maybe pass about 4 or 5 more cars, it won't be the end of the world.
And we're only working lap 4 of 21, such as the size of the circuit. Now this is what he doesn't want to see, Beluca and Lake scrapping with each other, and now he's losing time because they're holding him up. He can't exactly make a pass around here, and an aggressive move from Lake trying to go down the inside to Stavolo. Well, that's not going to work, and in fact that might open the door for Frisch to try and attempt something through Blanchimont.
Yeah, well, if he can get a good run like he did off this corner, he can pick up the draft. You can see them all snaking away, trying to break the draft from each other. I don't think he's close enough to make it in Blanchimont, but he might be close enough to outbreak him into the chicane as they come up to it right now. And he's not, none of them are going to make a move. They're all going to kind of stack together. Maybe try to do, ooh, looks like Philip Lake got a little loose there, and it's going to open the door for Gernot to get on the inside as they go into the hairpin here at La Source.
But Lake was much later on the brakes and is able to defend quite well. Considering Gernot finished qualified 3rd and Lake qualified 20th, you'd think the Marlboro machine back there would have a bit of the upper hand. But right now, as off goes Barry West, he's got damage. He's a lap car pulling out the way off for the side of them there.
Yeah, I was surprised Gernot didn't make that pass, but he's got the draft. He's going to make a move going into, there he goes, right there at the end of the Camel Straight. Got it done. Nice clean pass, and now you can focus on Beluca, who's up ahead of him. Meanwhile, up front, Sergio not missing anything. He still has that 2.6 second gap over Nora Lampi. Nora Lampi kind of running his own race as well. He's got a little bit of a gap to Matt Woods, so Matt Woods doing a good job holding on to that 3rd spot. The top 4 drivers are all kind of spread out, not much battling. Top 5 drivers are all spread out. The real battle starts back to where we were talking about with Beluca, and now he's got Frisch behind him and a big train of cars.
Yeah, but even though that gap of 2.5 seconds between Macias and Nora Lampi sounds like a fair bit, it's not as much as what it was. It was over 3 seconds at the end of the first couple of laps. So Nora Lampi is reeling in Macias a little bit.
Yeah, it's easy to make a mistake here, and you make a mistake coming like onto the straightaway, you lose a big gap. Meanwhile, Gernot's making a move on Beluca here. They're going down into Blanchimont, and he's going to get it done.
Bit of an easier time trying to get by Beluca than what was Philip Blake, who really put up a fight. The next victim for Frisch is now going to be Rob Olenek, who's coming out of the final turn, about a second up the road, I would say, from Frisch. They are now running 11th and 12th respectively. Still only about 15, 16 seconds back of the leader.
Yeah, I mean, Frisch has the speed to get through these guys. It's just a matter of getting through them cleanly. So I would expect him to catch up to Olenek fairly quickly, as he's gapped himself to Beluca as they come down the Camel Straight, and just saw Olenek just drop some wheels there.
Battle on for 9th place. Haughton looking to the outside of Trantre as they come into Lake Ons. Definitely one of the most popular overtaking opportunities on this track. He's not able to pull it off so far. They're going down the run to Rivage, and Haughton, though, able to use the momentum on the high side there to make the pass stick.
Yeah, great job for both those drivers, giving some respect to each other, but side by side, and eventually Michael was able to get the better of Ove. And we'll see if he has the speed to kind of catch up to Jamie Hall, who's not too far ahead of him.
Well, we mentioned how the drivers, even with the higher numbers in this race, are no slouches themselves. Sergio Fernandez, who qualified 7th, is still showing he's not just a hot lapper. He's out there running in 6th on pure pace right now, but he might not be able to hold on to that for much longer. Adam Fraser, who started a few positions behind him on the grid, that's been able to run him down, and might be thinking about trying to make a move for 6th place in the not too distant future.
Yeah, he's the key is to kind of get those clean runs onto the straightaway and pick up the draft. He's a little too far away from Lasky at the moment to pick that up. He has Adam Fraser right behind his Fernandez, so he's got to worry about that. Meanwhile, I was going to say, Friesch is right on the back of Olenek right now. So Friesch has closed that gap in 1 lap, and he should get this pass done. He's going to try to look for, no, keep it clean in the source, and then try to get that pass done going down the Camel Straight. Right in front of him, he's got Ove Trinkerade, so he's got some spots he can make up fairly quickly, and we get by Olenek right here. He is all over the back of him. He's definitely going to get by him. He's pretty much by him halfway down the straightaway, so this is going to be a pretty easy pass as he just makes a clean braking zone, and it does get done.
Hall and Haughton was pretty aggressive going into Camel, though. Hall was defending pretty well, it must be said, and he was able to keep Haughton behind him.
Yeah, this is something that basically Friesch is wanting to see. He's going to stacking up that field right in front of him. So there's 3 more spots that he's going to be able to pick up. I mean, right now he's running in 11th, so realistically, 8th place is doable.
Definitely not what he's going to want in terms of his championship hunt, though. I'm sure he'd like to get top 5 out of this, if not a podium finish. We'll have to wait and see. They're already approaching the 3rd race distance in this race. By the way, our casualties, we've already mentioned Millwood, Marrera and Albrecht out of this race early on. We saw Barry West off the pace with damage. Well, now another driver I saw in the pits last time by Martin Blaze has ran into trouble, so that's going to take us down to 20 cars left on the lead lap.
Not much going on up front. Top 5 drivers are still running top 5 as they started after the first lap. They're all spread out a few seconds, so not much going on. The next real battle is going to be Fernandez and Adam Fraser. Fraser has closed that gap up to Fernandez as they come down the front straightaway going into the source.
And Fraser's trying to take a look on Trantere as they came up to turn 1. Nothing happening there, but obviously he should be able to get a nice run on him going down to Kemmel. However, Trantere is also going to be able to use a slipstream off of Haughton, and maybe he'll be able to hold on to 10th place for a little while longer.
Right, they come down the Camel Straight. Once again, Friesch is in that slipstream of Trangerade, and Trangerade's defending, taking the inside line. Also, Haughton's kind of zigzagging back, trying to break that draft, and no opportunity for Friesch at this point. But Ove got a little bit of loose coming through that corner at the end of the Camel straightaway, and this battle rages on.
Yeah, see, Friesch enjoyed watching all these drivers battle from a ways back. He was thinking, oh, this will help me run them down. He doesn't enjoy it all now when it's holding him up. But fortunately for him, he makes a nice move on the X-Off Revage on the run down to No Name there. Get by Trantere into 10th place. And now the battle for 8th continues ahead of him, with Haughton almost taking a look down the inside of Hall into Pujon.
Yeah, Haughton's done a great job starting 17th, running 9th. It's pretty aggressive, so his car's working good for him. But here comes Friesch right up onto the back of Haughton. So Friesch has got his head down and just slicing his way through the field.
Yeah, this is what Friesch wants to see. Haughton has lost a bit of pace on Hall through the second half of this lap, and that's going to allow him to pick them off one at a time instead of trying to get by them both while they're scrapping for position.
It's been great to watching Prix kind of carve his way through the field. I mean, that accident was a little bit his fault, so I'm sure he feels bad about that, but we got to get to business. He's going to look to the outside and not quite there. Ooh, Hall locks up the wheels going into the chicane. That's going to close this gap up as they come onto the front stretch.
We cross the line to complete lap 8, start lap number 9. And once again, though, the battle for 8th is going on, and Prix can't do anything about that. If they're side by side, there is a very real possibility we might be about to see a 3-wide scenario going into Les Combes.
Yeah, Prix can't get any closer than he was going into Haughton into the Rouge. But we got a nice battle here. Jamie taking the inside. Haughton's going to the middle. Prix is kind of hanging back to see what happens. I think Jamie Hall is going to get this. No, I'm wrong. Haughton's able to break him. Here comes Prix right to the inside. He's going to have the outside lane here. This is great.
He might attempt a crossover on the inside of Ravage, but Hall goes defensive. And they don't change position. All this allows Trandre to close in on them, actually.
Yeah, this is definitely helping Ove to get back into that fight. Haughton done a great job battling right through that. And now he's got Adam Fraser pretty far ahead of him, so he's got clear track. Jamie's got a mirror full of that Marlboro car he's got to defend from.
The gap between our two leaders up front is remaining about 3 seconds. This is definitely the best battle on the circuit right now, and it's going to get more and more intense and faster as the race goes on. These Lotus 79 cars perform better on lighter fuel loads. Tyre wear doesn't seem to be much of a concern for them, especially on the day like today where the track isn't exactly blistering hot. It's a 96-degree Fahrenheit track temperature kind of day. Now let's see what kind of run Prix can get on Hall here. If he can attempt to move down into the bus stop, I think he might be thinking about doing that.
All defends, takes this right in the center lane. You know, it looks like Prix is getting pretty aggressive. He's going to get a good run. Oh, there he goes. And Hall got loose coming off of that corner. It's going to open the door for Prix to get by, and then open the door for Ove to maybe take a shot at him.
Yeah, it looked like Hall perhaps overshot his braking point heading into the bus stop. And actually, Prix was blinking a little bit there on my screen. Yeah, we saw that on the director's view as well. Yeah, it looked like Hall just got out of his rhythm there in the bus stop, got up on the curb, spun his tyres, and that cost him the position of Prix. And now Prix is going to want to make quick work of Haughton because he is now over 20 seconds back of a race leader. And as we approach a halfway point, the amount of positions he's going to be able to pick off is looking ambitious for him to get back up in the top 5 now, to be honest.
Yeah, I expect to see Prix close this gap up to Michael by the time we get to the end of this lap right here. He started 3rd. Michael Haughton started 17th, so we know that Gurno has that speed, but that battle kind of slowed down a little bit. But meanwhile, Jamie Hall right behind him, he's got Ove Trenkerade trying to get by him, so he's been pretty busy the last lap and a half. We got some other battles out there with P15 with Stefan Beluca. He's got Tobias Gerber right behind him. So this nice 2-car battle. Also, P4 is closing up. Kane Lasky starting to close up with Colin Brown trying to get to that 4th position. So for a while, these guys are all spread out. But as the fuel burns, you can see who's able to take advantage of that light car load.
Considering he has a number 20 on this car, this is quite an impressive performance by Kane Lasky. Qualified 8th, is up to 5th, and maybe thinking about 4th before this is over. Oh, Lake in trouble! That's the 2nd lap in a row, I think we've seen him get it wrong at the bus stop. This was weird. This was way before he got to the turn. I wonder if he made a mistake coming out of Blanchimont or too much rear brake.
Yeah, too much rear brake, maybe a little bit on. There's a little bit of grass going into that. Might have dropped a wheel. Here we are on board with Philip as we come down to the bus stop. And yeah, just a little too much rear brake, and that's about it. He's able to keep going, but he does lose some positions. And Gurno has closed that gap. He's trying to make that move around the outside of Michael Haughton. Haughton's been pretty aggressive, so it's going to be a little harder, I think, for Gurno to get by him. But he's definitely determined. He's going to put the heat.
Yeah, once again, trying to take a look down the inside of Rivage. It's not the first time we've seen him attempt that today. It didn't work this time by. The nice thing about this circuit is every turn has a nice run going into it. Every single turn around here is a potential overtaking opportunity. It's just a matter of whether you have a good run on the car in front of you or not.
Yeah, it's definitely an open track that you can kind of hang the car out, but it is easy to drop a wheel, as we've seen, that's just a little too much, and spin those tires up and spin yourselves out. So you're kind of on the edge the whole lap, but it's definitely fun to drive.
Keep an eye on these guys real quick, and then we got another nice little battle brewing up towards the tail end of the field. But I want to see if Prix is going to be able to make this move. Sticking to the bus stop first. He got the run too early. He had to back off before they got to that left-hand kink. If he had a run like that here, he could have made easy work of Haughton going into the bus stop, but that's not the way it worked out.
He's setting them up for a pass probably down the Camel Straight. But yeah, we do have some other battles out there with P17 with Nicholas Mukanos and Ian Card and Simon Schultz all stacked up.
Yeah, and we'll catch those guys as they come down to the Camel Straight, but we're watching all of these little battles around the circuit brew as they go on the run, and in fact, Prix pulls it off before they even get to Eau Rouge. It's not over yet.
That was a bold move by Gurno to pass going into Eau Rouge, and unfortunately he got wide and got into the side of Michael, and Michael got the worst end of it, unfortunately. That's a very tough spot to pass. You can see Gurno makes the pass but gets loose. That opens the door for Michael, and then they make contact, and unfortunately Michael's out. So Haughton's out of the car in the garage, and Gurno used up one of his lives once again. He keeps on going. I don't think that was really anybody's fault. Just kind of a tough place to pass, and just kind of worked out that way. Yes,
looked like it would have been resolved before they got to Eau Rouge, but Haughton kept the fight up, and whoever you want to blame there, unfortunately, it didn't work out for him. Now, here's that nice little scrap we were talking about. It was for 17th. It's now going to be for 16th with Haughton out of the race. Mukanos ahead of Card and Schultz. These are all three drivers who started toward the back of the field. In fact, Card was unable to turn a lap during qualifying. Right now, they've got a nice little scrap going on. They're not at the very back of the lead lap. Unfortunately, that goes to Ben Laughter, who's been carrying a bit of front wing damage for most of the race.
Yeah, if we want to go up to P4, is a great battle going for that, as Kane Lasky has tightened up that gap right to him, and they're coming into La Source, and we should see a good run coming up through Eau Rouge and through the Camel Straight in a second.
Yeah, here they go on the run down this very, very steep hill. I'd love to know how that hill compares to the size of various skyscrapers around the world. I'm sure it would be impressive. What could be impressive here is if Lasky is able to make a move for fourth place. However, I don't think he has a run, and Brown's going to be able to hold on to it for another lap.
Yeah, Lasky got a little bit loose coming out of La Source, didn't quite get the power down like he wanted to, and lost that gap, but he's tightened it back up. But we're also maybe seeing, like I said at the beginning, maybe a little difference in wing angles, as some people are faster on the straight and some people are faster in these medium speed corners. So, you know, Kane Lasky is closed back up in these slower corners, but wasn't quite able to get the draft down the Camel Straight.
Andretti was really trying hard through Les Combes to make a move for 8th place stick on Jamie Hall, but he wasn't able to make it work, and Hall holds onto it for now. We're probably not going to see a lot of Gernot Frisch for the next few laps. We've been watching him a lot early on with all of his moves through the field, but right now he's got 8 seconds of nothing in front of him before he gets to Adam Fraser. We might see more of this battle for 16th, because these 3 cars are all over another once again going into Rivage.
Yeah, this is a nice tight battle that we're watching on screen, even though it's for 17th, 16th, 18th. You know, these guys are fighting hard for every position they can get, because this is a high split, and any point will, every point you can get is going to help.
And you see the interval at the top of your screen between your 2 leaders continues to stay at around 3 seconds.
Yeah, it's been about that most of the race here. So Sergio and Noralampi are basically running the same lap times. Most of the battles have been a little bit farther down. As this battle we're watching right here is 3-way battle as they come on into the backstretch. Maybe we'll see something happening in Blanchemont as they come up to that in just a few seconds. Fastest lap, Gernot just set the fastest lap of the race, so he's definitely, his car's working well at 2:07.0.
I'm starting to think a lot of our midfield excitement today is being created on the basis that Jamie Hall started in the middle of the field, got up to the front of the field early on, and has proven to be very, very hard to pass. So he's created many trolley trains throughout the race. I wonder if he's running with a bit of lower downforce, because even with a nice slipstream there, Ove Trantere could not do anything about him. And now we see Trantere, Stevens, and maybe even Rob Olyanek all getting bunched to back up behind Jamie Hall.
Yeah, that can be really frustrating sometimes when you know you're faster, but you're faster in the wrong sections of the track. So it can get a little frustrating. Meanwhile, we have Nicholas Mukanos going for a move on That's Simon Schultz going on a pass on Nicholas. Not quite there to make. These guys are still battling hard with Ian Card right behind him, trying to see if he can pick up the mess if these guys make a mistake.
Well, there's definitely still lots of hot and heavy action out here on the racetrack. Unfortunately, some drivers have fallen by the wayside, and we've caught up with one of them right here. Michael Haughton, you had a good race going out there, a nice little battle going with Gernot Frisch. Unfortunately, all went south there down in Eau Rouge.
Yeah, I decided to let him go up Eau Rouge. I cut behind him as he was going up, and I think he got a little bit of understeer, and I managed to get the inside line, but there's no way for me to keep it there, and my car drifted out, and I unfortunately hit him. So yeah, but it was a fun race. I did some crazy overtakes throughout the first few laps.
How much do you think different setups are playing into this? Because I'm starting to wonder, for example, another driver you've been racing out there, Jamie Hall, it looks to me like he's carrying a bit of less downforce on his car. He has a bit more top-end speed.
Yeah, I was thinking that when I was behind him. He got a really good run out of most of the corners, and then on the straights I would catch up. So in order to get him, I had to really push hard through the last maybe 3 or 4 corners and be right on his tail before Eau Rouge. And yeah, managed to pull that one off, too wide going down that.
Yeah, we're actually watching this battle go on into Les Combes right now. Once again, it looks like Hall's going to be able to hold off a challenge from Trantere. Michael, this definitely seems like one of the stronger splits, one of the highest strength of field races we've had all season long. Does that make it that much more disappointing that you're sitting on the sidelines for the end of this?
Yeah, but also this is my first Lotus 79 race, so I wasn't coming into this with you know, top 5 in mind, but I wanted to be competitive, and I normally run Camel GT, so I'm pretty good there. But yeah, I wanted to try something new, and I'm pretty happy with my performance. Managed to get up to 8th with the kind of field we have right now. This is not an easy.
There, you cut out a little bit there, Michael. Richie, you had anything you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, Michael, it was great watching you make those moves out there starting 17th. And yeah, we were commenting that you're pretty aggressive, but it kind of seemed like you had to be out there.
Yeah, it's do or die pretty much in this car, and it's very tough to pass here, especially with people running different setups. Some have high downforce and they're better on the corners. Some have low downforce, better on the straight. So yeah, once I committed myself, I try to do my best not to crash into the other person.
Yeah, well, it was good. Sorry that ended the way it did.
Yeah, well, on to the next week then.
All right, well, we look forward to seeing you at Le Mans next week. That was Michael Haughton who put on the great show for us. And talking about a great show, Richie, this scrap from 9th back to 12th, boy, they're all over each other.
Yeah, Jamie Hall, you're watching that. Well, we were talking to Michael, and yeah, this is crazy. You know, Ovo's trying to do everything he can to get by him. And meanwhile, it's stacked up the cars. So we have Jamie, Ove Trenkere, John Stevens, Rob Olenek all stacked up trying to get to that 9th position. And here comes Ove down the Camel Straight. He's got the position going into the corner. And let's see if he can hold it. Jamie's not going to give it up easy.
Ove sliding through Lacombs trying to pull that off. He's getting frustrated because I'm sure he knows he's faster. And he just needs to get by Hall, and he can pull away from him. But look at, boy, they're wheel to wheel right there in Rivard. Stevens and Rob almost fanning wheels as they went down into that right-hander.
Yeah, that was crazy right behind Ove. And, you know, he's got his mirrors full while he's trying to pass Jamie. This has also brought Stefan Beluca into that mix. So we got a 5-car battle here with only 6 laps to go, just trying to get into that top 10.
Tobias Gerber might also arrive on the scene soon, running back there in 14th place.
I'm sure Ove's getting a little frustrated because he's had the pass almost completed and Jamie just wouldn't give it up, and a little contact there. No harm, no foul, just hard racing, but it is starting to heat up.
Yeah, meanwhile, the last driver who successfully got by Jamie Hall was Gurno Frisch. He has pulled away 10 seconds on him. He's only 4 seconds back of Adam Fraser right now for 7th place. I've got to confess, I don't think he'll be able to do... if he gets by Fraser, it'll be tricky for him to run down that pack in front of Fraser.
Yeah, he's running at a time a little bit here. And, you know, I mean, but up to, if he can get that 7th spot, considering what happened on the first lap, I think he won't be too disappointed. We haven't talked much about our leaders. Sergio got that 3.5-second gap up to Noah Lampi, who's got a big gap to Matt Wood, who's done a great job running in that 3rd position. But the real battle is right back here still with Jamie Hall and this group of 6 now.
Yeah, Jamie Hall can actually take a breather this lap. He's got a bit of a gap over Ove Trangerate. He's trying to keep it that way by swerving back and forth over the Camel Straight and break that slipstream.
Yeah, it's kind of cool watching them snake their way down the straightaway, trying to break that draft. But now we come into that downhill section and everybody tightens up. And I'm sure Ove really wants to get by. He's been working hard for a long time to get by Jamie, and I think if he can, he might have the speed to kind of gap him a little bit, but he has a mirror full of Rob Olenek to deal with.
By the way, Philip Blake has caught onto this train now as well, so this is actually 7 cars strong. When you consider we got 19 cars left on the lead lap, we've got over 1/3 of a field all battling for the same position.
It's been pretty exciting race so far. Maybe not so much up in the front, but these mid-pack battles have been pretty exciting.
Ben laughed into the pits. He was about to go a lap down with that damaged front wing, so I have a feeling he's just going to get out the way of leaders, get that wing repaired, and he'll cross the line in 19th place unless anyone else runs into trouble ahead of him.
Yeah, Gurno's been reeling in Adam Fraser pretty quickly. The last time by, the lap time almost a second faster than Adam Fraser. We'll keep an eye on that battle. We get close to the end. Meanwhile, this battle with Jamie Hall and Ove is not stopping. I mean, Jamie's got a little bit of gap to Ove, But one little mistake, and he's going to get swallowed up by about 7 cars.
Fourth place could be starting to become a very interesting battle in the final few laps. I mean, Colin Brown has been holding off Kane Lasky for quite a while, but now Sergio Fernandez is starting to reel them both in, and that will change the whole attitude of this battle if it turns into a 3-car fight with only 3.5 laps left to go right now.
Yeah, only 3.5 laps to go, but it's still a long ways around this track, so that's still about 8 minutes worth of racing we have to go. So there's definitely time for Sergio to close this gap up and maybe battle for that 4th position.
One change for position just happened on track. It was at the very back of that train. Philip Blake got by Tobias Gerber for 14th place. A nice move down the Kemmel Straight.
Gurno's putting in some fast lap times. He's the only guy in the 206s, so even after all those incidents, his car is still intact and he's able to really put in some good laps. It's really too bad, you know, we had that incident on the opening laps. I think if we had Gurno and Nuno and Sergio, it would have been a great battle.
Yeah, Gurno has caught Adam Fraser now. You can see this battle for 6 is brewing. And honestly, I have a feeling what might change the outcome of this race for Gurno is whether that battle for 4th really spices up or not. If they continue to run single file and set fast laps, I'm not sure Gurno's going to be able to catch him. But, well, first Gurno's got to get by Adam here, and Adam actually just pulls out the way for him. Which, questionable decision with 3 laps to go.
I don't know. I think he just saw, you can see the gap coming down, and sometimes you're like, you know, I'm just not even going to bother. He's faster. I'll just let him go, and I'll just take the position I'm in.
Okay, so 2 seconds a lap quicker, Frisch's than Brown, Lasky, and Fernandez. So maybe I'm wrong here, actually. Even if they don't start battling at this rate, Frisch might be able to get 4th place out of this.
Yeah, I mean, he's 2 seconds a lap faster. He's 2.8 seconds behind, so you can do the math. So if he can keep that up, he should be right in the draft at the end of this lap. And, you know, then you never know what's going to happen. Meanwhile, that battle with Hall, Trankerade, Olenek, and Stevens Lake, that whole battle, they kind of separated out a little bit. They're not really battling too hard. Although the battle with Philip Lake and Stefan Beluca is pretty tight, but everybody's just kind of settled down a little bit as we have, like you said, about 2.5 laps to the finish. It's usually not this quiet up front, but, you know, I don't want to ignore Sergio. He's done a great job. Started first, got a great start, running first. Was able to just maintain that gap between, you know, Olympia's kind of bouncing back and forth between 2.8 seconds and a little over 3. So they're doing a great job just running. Sometimes that's hard to run just by yourself and just put those laps in because your mind starts to wander. So good job by both those guys.
We're watching the leaders work their way by the lap car Barry West. Barry West is normally races a Ferrari paint scheme. It's gone a bit grey today. Now, obviously, he hasn't had a race. I'm wondering if this is an alternate paint scheme he has, or honestly, oh, it's for the World Cup. Okay. I was also wondering, I'm sure we've got plenty of other paint schemes out there, and how appropriate we're in Belgium, actually, as we... sorry. Schultz in trouble. No,
Yeah,
this
is all by himself, so just kind of a mistake he made on his own, running an 18th spot. As we watch the replay there, and it looks like Ian Card kind of had a mistake, and that caught Schultz out. He got out wide, hit the bump, and into the barriers in the end of his race. So just kind of unfortunate there. Meanwhile, up front, though, I was watching Gurno has caught right up to the back of Fernandez. So it only took him a lap to close that gap down. So we should see a pass maybe at the end of this lap as Gurno tries to take that 6th position.
with only 1.5 laps left to go. But I just want to continue on that point, and how appropriate actually that's also talking about the World Cup of iRacing, all these nations coming together here, that today does mark 100 years since the end of World War I. It's recognised by many, many different countries around the world as Armistice Day, Veterans Day. We just want to remember all of those who have fought and served for our freedoms throughout the world, and heavy casualties back then. It's great that we can come to countries in the real world and also in the real world, such as Belgium today, see all these nationalities out here having fun, racing, cars, paint schemes made famous from different countries around the world. And we have seen a great race here at Belgium today, and right now it is Prix on the outside of Fernandez, trying to make one final pass stick as they come around to start the final lap of this race here, the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps.
Yeah, he took a real good shot on the outside of the bus stop, didn't quite make it, and got some wheel spin coming out of it, but I have a feeling that Gurno's going to get this spot as we get down the end of the Camel Straight. Also, right in front of them, that battle for fourth is heating up with Colin Brown and Kane Lasky. This has been going on for a while, but it is the final lap, so if you're going to make a move, you got to do it now.
And here they go. They're both about to come into Les Combes, one behind the other. The greatest passing opportunity on the track. Lasky not able to do anything on Brown. He hasn't been able to do anything on Brown all race long. Prix having a bit more success, drives it in deep on the outside of Fernandez, and he is going to be able to pull that off. Yes, as they come out of Les Combes, he comes out in front, and Prix is going to be able to end his charge back up through the field with a 6th place finish.
Yeah, 6th place finish unless Colin and Brown and Lasky get together. So that's his only hope. But it's a great battle back to the front from pretty much last on the field after the first couple of corners. So nicely done to Gurno.
And nicely done by Sergio. Sergio Macias, we haven't gave him a whole lot of camera time today. He built up an impressive lead on the first lap when the drivers racing in 2nd and 3rd place tangled early on in the event. Everyone kind of got stacked up behind that incident, allowed Macias to run away with the lead from pole position, but he's done a great job to keep it there. And he's backed off a little bit this lap, so Nora Lampe isn't too far behind him, but he is behind him, and Macias takes the win. Nora Lampe brings home 2nd, and a huge day in the points for Matt Wood, who is going to come home with a 3rd place finish. A battle on for 4th, the final lunge into the final chicane, and very deep goes Brown. He holds on though, ahead of Lasky, ahead of Prix, and Fernandez drops back to 7th on the final lap.
Yeah, that was close. That was exactly what Gurno was looking for, but everybody made it. So great job to all those drivers.
Battle for 12th into the final corner. Stevens ahead of Lake. Likewise, Stevens drives in deep into the final turn. Lake will attempt to switch back, but there's not enough time before the line, and Stevens will bring home 12th.
And then right behind them with Stefan Beluca coming in 14th. Tobias Gerber coming in 15th. Those guys had a good battle with Nicholas Mukanos. He's coming down towards the last chicane to finish 16th, and Ian Card should be the last car in the lead lap in 17th.
With that, that's going to wrap up all of the racing action here today, but stick around. We've got some drive interviews coming up in the full race rundown here on the GSRC. Hello and welcome back to the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, where we saw some great racing out here today. 21 laps of it here in Belgium for the Lotus round 9 of the Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship. At the end of the day, your race winner was Sergio Macias, only a second ahead of Juha Norolampi. That doesn't really tell the full story though. It was pretty much 3 seconds throughout the race. Matt Wood comes home in 3rd position ahead of Colin Brown, and a great race for Kane Lasky, the number 20 car. He started 8th and held on for a 5th place finish. Gernot Frisch, after a couple of bad moments early, comes home in 6th position. He rallied through the field to get there. Sergio Fernandez, the number 24 on these cars, but he brings it home in 7th place, exactly where he started. Rounding out your top 10 are Adam Fraser, Jamie Hall, who drove a heck of a race to resist a lot of pressure from behind all race long, and Ove Tranderet.
Yeah, coming in 11th spot is going to be Rob Olenek, John Stevens, Philip Lake in 13th. These guys all battled hard all throughout the race. Stefan Beluca coming in 14th. Tobias Gerber in 15th. Nicholas Mukanos in 16th. Ian Card, our last car on the lead lap, in 17th. Coming in 18th, we had Ben Laughter. Simon Schultz, who had a little incident at the end, unfortunately, coming in 19th. And Barry West rounding out the top 20.
And then we get to the drivers who did not make it to the finish. Michael Haughton, who came and talked to us during the middle of the race. Thanks for coming and chatting with us, Michael, and we look forward to seeing you back at Le Mans. Martin Blaze also ran into some early issues, as did Alex Millwood. Nuno Moreira, of course, the incident with Frisch on the opening lap, and Justin Albrecht, who was involved in an incident on lap 1 as well. And Richie, it looks like all of the drivers are worn out after 21 laps of hard racing around here, because none of them are in a hurry to come up to the booth and say hi to us. But man, we definitely saw some great mid-pack racing out there today, and I'm sure we're going to see more next week when we head over to Le Mans.
Yeah, maybe they're all getting ready to go watch the Formula 1 race that's going on right now. But yeah, it was some great battling. Definitely a classic race for this classic car, and we should see another great one at another great classic track at Le Mans.
Yeah, well, we still have races coming up here on GSRC as well, but let's go ahead and wrap up this broadcast by thanking the people who made it possible, including all of the organisers and the competitors from the Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship. We would also like to thank all of the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts, and you can see them all listed on your screen. Additional thanks goes out to Eric Ekholm and June Lalonde to provide us with our music. See the screen file to get a hold of more of their great work. Thanks to the team today, Richie, Amjad and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. We're also on social media. We're on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at facebook.com/Global SimRacing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Gram. All of the upcoming races for our other series are listed on screen, so check those out, mark them down on your calendar, and don't miss another second of exciting racing action. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.
Thank you.